2,100 subscribers. What the heck? We just said 2,000 like what, a week, 2 weeks ago? So thank you, you absolute mad lads. We're gonna do a giveaway to celebrate over on my Twitter, link down in the description. Follow me over on Twitter, because we also broke 1,000 Twitter followers too. So come hang out over on Twitter, and keep an eye out in the next couple of days for some sort of like code giveaway. Maybe I can get a prize pack and give that away as well. Who knows? I don't know. We'll figure it out. But keep an eye out over on the Twitter. Make sure you follow me over on Twitter. But yeah, let's just dive right in. We want to talk about Regidrago VSTAR today. Specifically, this commenter here, I'll put it up, asked a little bit ago about it. And I mentioned that we talked about this way back before the set came out with like proxies and whatnot. But this list was played by Rigsy1, minus a couple little tweaks in here, in the Webcam War Invitational that 9card and I ran. And we got to watch this thing on the stream, just flawlessly set up almost every game. And it was kind of interesting to see, and it made me just want to sleeve it up and play it. And man, this deck is fun as heck, compared to like the lull that we're in waiting for Scarlet and Violet cards. And in addition to that, I will start doing post-rotation content probably in the middle of February. I wanted to wait just a little bit longer before I started going crazy with proxies and covering all these things. But just keep in mind, I don't want to burn myself out. But yeah, let's just talk about Regidrago VSTAR. This thing has 280 HP. I'm leaving that in. And the attack, Apex Dragon for 2 grass and a fire. Choose an attack from any dragon Pokemon in your discard pile and use it as this attack. Sounds crazy. And you have the V-Star power ability, Legacy Star. During your turn, you discard the top 7 cards of your deck and then put 2 cards there from your discard pile. And to note, you don't have to take the cards that you've discarded. You can just take anything that's already in your discard pile. So like if you turn 1 discarded, like say Boss or Gardenia or whatever, you just get those back instead. So we are playing a 4-3 line of that. Let's talk about the V for a second. 220 HP, 2 attacks, Celestial Roar. You can discard the top 3 cards of your deck. If any of those are energy cards, attach them to this Pokemon. It can happen. You can do it. And the attack, Dragon Laser for 2 grass and a fire, does 130 damage to the active and then 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. And you can copy this own attack if there's one in the bin from the V-Star. And it's a thing you can do to set up or chip off some extra damage, set up a multi-prize turn, so on and so forth. So yeah, 4-3 line of that. And then into the attackers, we'll go over them relatively quickly. We have a Giratina V-Star for the Lost Impact. Put 2 energy cards attached to this Pokemon, or any of your Pokemon specifically, into the Lost Zone for 280. So this is your big swing, 280 damage. We have a Duraludon VMAX in here for Gmax Pulverization. It's basically a shred for 220. It goes through, Miltank, any effects. So if you're attacking into Goodra, you can actually just hit them for the 220. It doesn't let them decrease the damage. Speaking of Goodra, we play our own, so we can use Rolling Iron for 200, and then we take 80 less damage. And then we have Flygon V for, technically if you want, you can use Sand Spray, but bleh. And then you have Draconic Impulse for 160 plus 160 more if you're attacking into a Pokemon VMAX. So you're just going to one-hit KO a Pokemon VMAX. The 160 plus 160 is 320. That's just about most of them, give or take, like Duraludon. But you can slap Choice Belt on here, or if you set up the attack with Draconic Laser earlier on, doesn't really matter too much. You're going to be able to plow through whatever. And then, honestly, the most important attacker in here is the Dragonite that you get into the bin for the Energy Hurricane for 180. Search your deck for 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. So you get 1 Regidrago set up, and then you get this in there, and then you can attack for 180 into, say, a Crobat or a Lumineon or whatever else, and then accelerate energy from the deck onto another Regidrago V-Star, so you're good to go. Another important attacker and the last dragon in here is Appleton for the thick Mucus, the awkward attack name, but does 70 damage times the amount of special energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. So not just their active, but all of them. So if you're playing against Lugia, that's 70 times 4, 5, 6, whatever. Can hit pretty hard and pretty fast. But that is it for the dragons in here. Onto the support, we are rocking 2 copies of Leafeon V. Originally, I only played 1, but Riggs was a smarter man than the rest of us. With 2 Leafeon V, that way you can guarantee yourself that Greeting Cells turn 1 to make it even easier to get your Regidrago VSTAR up. So you Greeting Cells, it ends your turn, you get a Grass Energy from your deck and attach it to one of your Pokemon, but feels pretty solid. And you can technically attack with a Leaf Blade in this deck for a Grass and too close, it does 90 damage. Flip a coin, if heads, it does 60 more, 150, but meh. You really don't want to attack with a Leafeon, but you can if you need to. We then have 1 copy of Lumineon for Luminous Sign, Luminous Sign, to find a supporter card from your deck. And we've got 2 copies of Crobat V for the Dark Asset. When you bench it, draw your hand up to 6. And then we've got a copy of Drapion in here to Unga Bunga Wild Style Dynamic Tail into Mew VMAX to take some extra prize cards. The Mew matchup is definitely rough with this because they're just a little bit faster in general. And the 220 pressure they can apply on their second turn is a little bit degen. So Drapion is in here to kind of mix it up in case you can't necessarily get to another loaded up Regidrago for Apex Dragon to copy whatever else you need. Drapion can just kind of seal that deal. And the last Pokemon in here is a Radiant Greninja for the concealed cards. Discard an energy and draw 2. Just gives you a little bit more oomph and speed in this list here. All right, on to supporters. We are playing 3 copies of Gardenia's Vigor. Draw 2 cards. If you drew any cards, so you can attach them to 2 Grass Energy cards from your hand to one of your benched Pokemon. So you can't load up the active, it's got to be in the bench. We do play a lot of switch cards, but this is primarily how you're going to get the 2 Grass onto Regidrago outside of, say, Grading Cells on Leafeon, a turn attachment, and a turn attachment the next turn. This will get you potentially the option to get at least 1 or 2 extra energy cards on to your Regis. We then have 3 copies of Serena for the gusting and or the discard draw. And the discard draw on this actually makes a difference because you can just discard dragons and draw up until 5. So feels pretty solid in here. Or you can gust up a Pokemon V. We have 2 copies of Professor's Research. Discard your hand and draw 7 for those moments where you just want to pitch and ditch your entire hand and start from scratch. Pretty straightforward on the supporters. And then we have 2 copies of Boss's Orders for just general gusting outside of what Serena can do. That's it for the supporters. Pretty slim, nothing too crazy. You just want to consistently play whatever you have. And again, once you get dragons rock and rolling in the discard pile, Regidrago is good to go on whatever else you need. Item cards. For Quick Ball, discard a card from your hand, search your deck for a basic Pokemon. So good way to thin away all these evolutions, and then grab your Dragos, your Crobats, whatever else you need to potentially draw some extra cards. Then we've got 3 copies of Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards, search your deck for any Pokemon. So this gets you your V-Star, this gets you your Goodra, your Duraludon, your Giratina, Dragonite, Appletun, and gets them in your hands. That way you can discard them with whatever else to get them into the bin. We then have 3 copies of Switch and 1 copy of Air Balloon. Because Gardenia can only attach to the bench, being able to have Switch to, attach to a benched Pokemon and then switch into the active, in this case with the Reggie, so you can start with whatever else and then pivot around. These are super important to be able to consistently use Gardenia's Vigor to attach his energy cards and then draw, into whatever kind of situations you're looking for. In terms of energy, we are playing a single copy of Energy Search. Gotta rock that First Ed Fossil copy here to grab your energy from the deck. We have a split of fire and grass, less fire than grass, so you want to be able to grab the fire with this. It's like basically playing an extra one. It's like a 59th card. It's your 61st card if you want to think of it that way, where you just play it and instantly thins out your deck by 1. And then we have Energy Recycler. Oh man, this gold. I got this in a trade last week at League, and I am in love with this card. So finally glad to have one of these in the bling pile. But this lets you shuffle up to 5 basic energy from your discard pile to your deck. And then it's really because Dragonite is honestly, like I said earlier, the most important attacker in the list. So to be able to get the energy cards back into the deck so you can use that Hurricane attack again onto another Reggie feels pretty solid. In terms of tool cards, just a couple here. We have 2 copies of Choice Belt. We do 30 more damage into opposing Pokemon V. Pretty straightforward on there. It just gives you that extra little bit of edge. Again, Flygon, you're hitting for 320. A Belt makes it 350. So that you're guaranteed even a KO on Eternatus VMAX if it's full health, or if whatever reason someone decides to play Snorlax VMAX, because it's also got 340 HP. You can swing through with that. And then, you know, it makes sure 280, it makes it a 310, it makes sure 220, 250, Gudra's attack goes to 230, you know, so just math considerations here. Keep in mind the Choice Belt, it does matter sometimes there. And we have 1 copy of Big Parasol to protect ourselves from the amazing rare Yveltal and any other effects of attacks like Sableye doing its thing. Pretty important to play this in most decks that require some sort of setup. That way you just don't get amazing destruction and your day ruined. On to the stadiums, we are playing 2 copies of Training Court to get energy from the discard pile back into our hand. Pretty straightforward. You can do that once per turn. And this is the change I made from watching their gameplay, and which you can actually go watch as well. It's on this channel. Go look at the Webcam Lore Invitational stream. Clip through it. You can see the Regidrago go up against a handful of different decks. They ended up in the top 4 and had a nice series against Piper Lapine, which was kind of cool to watch. So if you missed that, that's on the channel. Link down in the description, or hit the name and then go find it in live streams. I promise you it was a good time. And then the other stadium, instead of a 3rd Training Court, we are playing a collapsed stadium. You have a lot of liabilities here. If you start Flygon, it sucks. If you get all these Crobats, Lumineon, Leafeon, or Drapion into play, and you just don't want them in play, you can fill your bench up with other things and then collapse stadium, at least one of them away. Feels pretty good here. So I wanted to play a collapsed in place of a 3rd Training Court, just to mitigate some of your, I guess, liabilities. All right, energy. We have 7 copies of Basic Grass and 4 copies of Basic Fire. Again, you need 2 Grass and 1 Fire on Regidrago VSTAR to copy any of the Dragon's attacks. And technically, you can attack with Leafeon if you really want to. But everything else, you're rocking on Regidrago, and you really want to focus on getting that loaded up and ready to go. But that's the list with a slight change. I can't wait to play this a little bit more. It's been a lot of fun. It's definitely not the most competitive deck, but you know, you can take some games. It's fun to play a league or a casual tournament, or if you're like you're not going to a 1K, you're not going to regionals, or hey, if you want to play this at a 1K or regionals, you'd probably become a legend with all that Twitter clout you're gonna get just for rocking this out and doing well. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Also, if you made it this far, consider subscribing. 77% of the viewers of this channel aren't subscribed, and that'd be a big help to the content here. Also, consider becoming a member as low as 99 cents a month to support this sort of content. It's a lot harder to do physical card profiles than it is, say, TCGO. And I try to go in depth and as fast as possible, so I don't waste a lot of your time. And you know, there's a lot of building up and tearing down and re-sleeving and sorting and sleeving and deck construction and play testing that goes into a lot of these videos that, you know, people just don't see behind the scenes, and it's a whole process. I'm thinking about doing a members only video where you kind of like see like the process of me building a deck and like sorting through the cards and so on and so forth, and showing the collection off and whatnot. But that'll do it. Much love. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take it easy. Peace out.